Hi, the Geek Boy's here to give you a quick little shout out to Comic Examiner. Comic Examiner has came to me. They liked my video from the last one, Ninja Turtle review, the first one, and they posted it up. So I guess me and him has unofficial. Now to the review.
Now for part 2 of the epic saga, and coming up next is Secret of the Ooze. If you don't know, you won't know. From the first movie, everybody had a lot of controversy to it, even though it was a very epic movie. People had a problem with it because of the fight scene, saying it was too brutal for kids, and also with this bad language. Really? I have not totally noticed that.
Ninja kick the damn rabbit! Do something!
Good shit. I totally did not notice that at all, dude. So they had to tone it down and make it more goofy, meaning the turtles could not use their weapons except for Donatello, because Donatello's up is not that dangerous. He had us not swear none. They had to be goofy. And the fourth one. I forgot the fourth one. The fight scenes cannot be that brutal. Again, I do not remember a point in them where the fight scene were not that brutal.
I'll teach you. 6 months.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Secret of the Ooze. First, I'm gonna cover the good, the bad, and the epic. Jesse hands, spirit fingers, spirit jazz hands combo. The good. The good of this movie is that the turtles are now having a stronger brotherhood. That's right. Raphael is not going to be a little emo one like he did in the first movie. Here he's actually goofing off. He's even more sarcastic than he was, because in the first one he was a little bit over the top, sarcastic, like,
oh, so that's the plan from our great leader, huh? Just sit here on our butts.
More into the brotherhood. The brotherhood is there. It feels like they're a good friend. Like they're all having a good time. They love each other. The fight scenes are good, they are fun. And then the good is that they replaced Corey Feldman with this new voice actor for Donatello. That's a good thing in my book, because, again, if you watch the last video, you'll know that what I mean when I say I did not like Corey Feldman as Donatello. This new voice actor, he really portrays Donatello as Donatello. I don't see Corey Feldman. And you see that there is a little bit of character development with his character, mostly because he wants to find the Ooze just because he feels like he wants to have a purpose, some type of existence, similar to how Raphael wanted to have a purpose in the first movie. And you see how Donatello reaction when he finds out that the Ooze just made as a mistake. If you know the true origin of the Ooze from the original comics, you know what was the purpose for the Ooze. But here it's like, hey, you're a mistake. And I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. And you got in the funk with that. And again, it's interesting to see how these turtles interact with each other, while at the same time having a very darkening situation where it's having a little bit of tension per se to this movie. And kind of a story arc. It's still kind of a cool moment. The bad of this movie is that it's too fucking goofy. I'm sorry, I love the movie. I'm sorry, I love the first movie because it was dark, gritty, and it combined elements from the comic book. Here, it's only combining elements of the 80s series, having the turtles goof off all the time. Sure, they're having a good time fighting crime, I love that. But don't you think they should calm the fuck down with the pun? Prime example, the scene where they're supposed to be hiding. Now, keep in mind, for the first movie, they did the same thing where they had to hide. It was instant. It was not like, oh my god, we gotta hide. Oh, we gotta hide. Here is that. Oh, we gotta hide. You know, that when Kino walks into April's apartment. And they should be picking better hiding spots, because this is a new, better luxury apartment. I don't know why they couldn't just go straight upstairs or onto the balcony. And I'm like, they're hiding in very convenient places. Donnie's behind the couch. No, Donnie's behind the sink. Michelangelo's behind the couch. Raph is just standing next to that thing, you know, where females like to take off their clothes, you know. I don't know what you call that thing. And that's how he easily is spotted, because he sees his foot and he's tapping it loudly. And I'm like, man, you're not ninjas. You motherfuckers are ninjas. It's not taking itself seriously, and it's very, very kind of, you know, silly to the point where I was like a little bit annoyed. Not only that, this movie had to constantly cram Kino for some reason to be the new April O'Neil for the Turtles. It's because the guy who plays Kino was Donatello's body double, you know, for the suit during the martial arts sequences, earned his role or convinced someone to be his role, because he really overshadows April to the point where you forget all about April. And I do not like Kino. None at all. Kino's too smart aleck. And he disrespects Master Splinter. When Master Splinter's trying to tell him it's not your fight, he gets involved and fuck things up. And that little bit of look at a Power Ranger. Don't mean shit, sir. They just think that they just brought him in because they have to have a young, hip character that matches the overall goofiness of the Turtle. I don't know why they did that. Another thing I did not like was that constantly the Turtles cannot use their weapons. Constantly. Like Raph wouldn't use his size, he won't use his fists. Michelangelo couldn't use his nunchucks because it was considered too deadly. Leonardo could not use his swords, he only used them one time to go on the roof and just kick. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But Donatello's using his weapon, and I'm like, one, the ball staff is still considered a deadly weapon, because when you put enough force into it, it is a bat, but with more strength. It'll crack your skull open. Hell, there's even a point in the movie where Leonardo has both his swords on his back, but he's using fucking tonfas. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You have swords. They're better than fucking tonfas, sir. You're not trying to make it seem like these turtles have no other choice but use other weaponry. They could have just simply said like, oh, Leonardo used them, but they got kicked out of his hand or something. Or Raphael, they did what they did in the first movie where they tossed his size somewhere else, you know. I'm like, man, they're not trying. At least with Michelangelo, they tried. They're like, oh, what's the closest thing to a nunchuck? Sausages, you know, link sausages, those shits. You know, that cool ass scene taking me out. Like, man, they're not trying. These motherfuckers are ninjas. And the epic Jesse Hands, Spirit Fingers, Spirit Jesse Hands combo. The epic is that the costumes are improved. There's no technical goofs. There's not one moment in this film where they had a technical goof. I mean, like, they throw me out of the realm of realism. Even though they threw me out of the realm of realism a long time ago with that bullshit with the weapons. And you actually see that they have more improvements to the turtles. Like, you can tell them apart. They all have their unique characteristic. Like with Raphael, he's the brooding one, so he has more muscle, and his shell is a little bit damaged. Leonardo, because if he's the leader, he has to be a little bit more taller. And Michelangelo, he's the youngest, so he's the runt, small. Donatello, he's medium built, and he seems kind of nerdy in his movements. Again, Jim Henson really took his time to put his heart and soul into these characters and their designs, especially Toka and Razor. Toka and Razor, they definitely feel like monsters out of a B-movie monster movie. They like, when you see them, they look scary, they seem deadly, even though they do have a childlike personality. They still have that presence to them where they have a little tension. They do look like they're powerful in their own way. Hell, there's a scene where I think Toka is his name, throws Donatello to the other side of the junkyard. And another epic of this movie is Vanilla Ice Ninja Rap. Yes, Ninja Rap is another part of the epic. While I don't like most of the parts of this movie, Ninja Rap is always considerably one of the greatest moments of this movie. Because unlike Total Power, that got its own music video and was heard at the end of the movie after the Turtles their cowabunga, you hear T-U-R-T-L-E power, T-U-R-T-L-E power, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was played during the climax when the Turtles try to get rid of Tokar Razor. They get thrown in the club and the Tokar Razor start terrorizing the people, and you just see how they're trying to protect people at the same time. They can't help but to have fun, and the Foot comes in and get rid of Tokar Razor, and the Foot comes in. They do they dance and they beat the fuck out of them, and after they beat the fuck out of them, they had to deal with Toxic. Like, and this is also the birth of the Wishbone Crunch touchdown, if I'm correct. But modern day term is called Shell Shock, where they gang up on Tatsu and use their shells to crush him and knock him out. And then they did this dance, which I question, how the fuck do they know how to synchronize dance like that? Was they trained for that moment? Like, Master Splinter was like, boys, if you ever get caught, always remember this. You gotta shake that ass to make your baby daddy mad. Shake, oh yeah, go ninja, go. Now for the ratings. The ratings I'm gonna give this movie is, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10 matinee, because you know, I have a lot of problems with it. It doesn't really live up to the hype of the first one of being kind of more story driven and kind of more dark for the Turtles. It's kind of goofy. It is kind of its own, trying to be like more PC less than the comics. I mean, sure, they make TCRI present here, and there was originally the idea for the professor to be Neutron at one point, but they considered it too gruesome for kids. and the problem is that they're forcing Tino a little bit too much. The underuse of April O'Neil and the bad actress for April O'Neil. The weapons are not used to make me call them ninjas, but it's all recovered to the strong Brotherhood of the Turtles, the more brilliant costume designs, and also go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. So yeah, I would highly recommend you guys watch this movie, just because, you know, it's still a fun movie, even though I had my problems with it. There's that other crowd who loves it, like my best friend Dequan, he loves this movie for some fucking reason. I don't know, I just don't love this movie as much as other people love it. I'm like, on the other side of the Turtle fans who love the first movie to a whole extent. Now I want to hear from you, dudes! Do you also agree with me when I say this movie kinda and kinda not live up to the hype of the first movie, or do you think this movie is the Mondo Groovy experience? Also, what's also your favorite moment of this movie? Was it the TCRI lab fight? Was it the Foot fight in the on their home turf, or was it ninja rap? I'm sorry, I just really like that song. Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, because coming up next is
Help, I'm a turtle and I can't get up. Right. Oh. Absolutely. Shoo-wee. Hey, you were expecting maybe the Addams Family?
Good one.
Mother of God.